3, 2, 1.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GrokTALK.com. We are your feared extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio, microphone-stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GrokTALK.com. Alright, it's GrokTALK. We're back. It's snowy out here. Really snowy. We were dumb to drive here because the drive back's gonna stink. But we wanted to do the program because we had guests lined up and they're all calling in and we didn't want to disappoint. So here we are, live, for now, from Concord, New Hampshire. Thanks to CNHT and the bloggers at GraniteRock.com. Don't forget to check us out on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, etc., etc., etc. And by all means, please, Facebook and Twitter. And I've already started tweeting. Just check for the hashtag GrokTALK and see what we have coming up.
As I told Steve, it was a big mistake to get in the car this morning.
Well, it wasn't a total mistake, because coming up we have Guy Comtois. He's on the line. We're going to do our legislative update. Jorge Mesa Tejada will be with us halfway through the segment to do an education update for New Hampshire. Greg Klein, a blogger and podcaster with RedMaryland.com, is going to join us to talk about some things going on down there, including Martin O'Malley and his likely run for president on the Democrat side of the ticket. Victoria Sullivan, state rep, state New Hampshire rep, District 16 in Hillsborough, I believe, is going to talk to us about some legislation. And then it's time for squirrels. So we're going to move right on in. Mike's on the line. He's going to join us as best he can from Hollis. He was safe and he didn't take the drive. And Guy has joined us. Guy, welcome to the program.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's it going today?
Great. So we've missed you a couple weeks because of this or that or the other thing, and you had responsibilities and obligations. And so what's been going on up there in that State House place thingy a couple blocks from where we're sitting here?
Well, not really a hell of a lot right now. I mean, committees are just getting underway. Some are a little bit ahead of the others. But it's kind of controversial part. It's kind of quieted down at the moment. I mean, that will all change when we start voting on bills in Reps Hall. You know, I mean, that's when the fireworks will fly again because of the way that Democrat elected Speaker Jasper vindictively seated people. The most adamant of O'Brien supporters, he's stuck in what they call a murderer's row, and in the middle of the third section, and so that they have to climb out over each other all the time every time they want to get on and speak. And a lot of them are senior. I've been there for a while, reps that you normally would get a one in, not an aisle seat or one ins because, they're more active. But he intentionally did it, and he admitted he intentionally did it. And at the same time, he talks out of the other side of his mouth saying that he wants to bring us all together. So it's kind of like that little rich boy high school kid there that nobody really liked.
Hey, Guy, is this similar to that phrase, I won? And now in the State of the Union, he said, I won twice? Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know, I still have a hard time. It's tough even thinking that it happened the way it did, that we had so much opportunity. Because if you read Laconia,
Daily Sun there.
Laconia Daily Sun, the downshifting has started, or they're attempting to downshift, because of Medicaid expansion. Health and Human Services wants to cut $7 million in local nursing home funding, which is county nursing homes, because of the cost of implementing Medicaid expansion. And so the Democrats always get on us about downshifting, when we were not downshifting, and this right here is downshifting. This is what the Republicans were saying was going to happen if we signed on to Medicaid expansion.
Well, certain Republicans, Guy, because as we all know, and here's my hobby horse again, it was the New Hampshire State Senate Republicans, led by Chuck Morse, Jeb Bradley, Nancy Stiles, Odell, and a couple other nitwits, who decided to go completely against the Republican Party platform and expanded mightily government and signed on to Obamacare's Medicaid expansion. So we get to thank them.
This has to be voted on to be approved for because it expires in 3 years, right? I mean, somebody has to actually vote to keep it.
Supposedly it sunsets, but and you're correct, Skip. I do apologize. I was talking about the more conservative Republican members in the House.
Yes.
The Senate did sell us down the street, and they have been the whole 4 years that I've been there. They're dangerous. I've always been an opponent to increasing the size of the Senate, but seeing how the Senate operates and how it's a good old boy network the last 4 years, I'd probably reconsider that thought and think of, gee, maybe we could double the size of the Senate in the state of New Hampshire.
I can't imagine that it would hurt us. It would certainly make the elections a smidge cheaper, maybe.
Exactly. Now we're talking on the low side, $80,000, $100,000 for a $100 a year job. You know, my uncle always used to say to me, don't ever trust a man who pays more for one suit than he makes in a week.
Well, we all know why. We all know why.
Don't ever trust the person who spends $100,000 to get a job that pays $100 a year. Okay?
Yeah, but the stakes are so high. I mean, we're looking at all this money. You know, we're talking about tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. And the ability to control people's lives, that's really the coin of the realm. The money is almost irrelevant, regardless of what New Hampshire Rebellion and Larry Lessig and a few other folks talk about. The stake for these politicians is to be able to basically be that bossy high school president or the hall monitor or what have you that says, I get to tell you what to do. And, these Republicans are no different.
I have a question for you.
If you look at the Senate, the 24 members, so the Republicans say for 2 years, or for the last 2 years, you had the 13 members. So you just got to round up 13 people, and you got to threaten them, and they do. And if you call for a roll call, or if you do this, no legislation with your name will get through the Senate, and they sit down and do that. Well, that'd be much more difficult if they had to double those numbers.
Correct.
And water it down like the House is. I mean, I spent $580 in my last election, to get in, and you water it down like that. So I think, it's like I agree. I don't think it could hurt.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Now that things have kind of settled down a little bit, you kind of get in a lay of the land. The lines are drawn or whatever. Are there some things that we could see getting done this year?
Neil Kirk isn't a conservative Republican, but he's a very fiscal, responsible Republican.
I'd agree.
He's very, very, very good on privacy issues. Very good. And he's the head of finance. So I'm hoping to see a budget that comes out with no increase, which would be getting something done, especially the mess we got ourselves into the last 2 years. Just spending, giving the Democrats giving their own governor permission to raid dedicated funds. The Fish and Game is coming out now. They're in the hole. Everybody's in the hole. So I think the only thing we can possibly look for is a level-funded budget, and that's about it. I mean, there's 2 constitutional carry bills for, I have, believe it or not, Bradley out of the Senate introduced one, and I introduced the same exact one in the House. And when you do the same verbatim bill, it avoids crossover. So it's kind of a more effective way.
Yeah, there's.
We may get that through the House, and we may get that through the Senate. She's going to veto it.
Right.
So anything good that would be propping up the Constitution and shoring up our rights will never get past the corner office.
Well,
I guess the short answer to your question is probably not a hell of a lot.
Well, that's not a bad thing. I mean, sometimes the best you can hope for is nothing, and nothing bad, actually. I agree. I think
but
that... I'm sorry, go ahead.
You got the ball kicking, Nothing might happen.
Oh, we lose you?
Uh-oh.
No, we might have lost Guy. All I was going to ask is, Guy, we're going to call you back if you can hear me. Stay there. We'll be right with you.
Guy, you there?
The money we owe
there he is. Okay.
doesn't go away. So they just kick the ball down the road. And eventually, hopefully, some sort of conservative will get elected, and he or she's going to have that whole mess on their lap.
That's
and
true.
Make him a 2-year, make him a one-term governor, because they have to try to straighten it out, make the tough decisions like we did in 2011 and 12, and then you become the bad guy.
Well, I was thinking, with Obama, the Congress needs to just send bills to him to veto like a machine cranking out. Just keep sending them. Make him veto something every freaking day. Just bury him. Now, New Hampshire can't really do that because it doesn't work that way, but I think the same thing needs to happen. You need to, the right needs to send bills to the governor that she will veto, so that she has to veto them and explain why. And they then need to be very concerted in their description of why that was bad. And that would definitely hamper her ability to maybe have a positive, progressive launch into her likely run for the Senate against Kelly Ayotte.
Right, and at the end of the day, and I might get in trouble for this, but there really isn't a hell of a lot difference between Hassan and Ayotte. I am personally just sick to my stomach about Washington, okay? It is, you've probably got 535 total, House and Senate members down there, and 30 or 40 are probably what we would consider good. And they tell you that all lip service, and they get down there, and it doesn't matter if the Republicans are in charge lately or the Democrats, the debt keeps rising. And we getting into such deep trouble with that there is absolutely positively no economic confidence. I mean, if you're confident in this economy, then I think you need a counselor.
You'd have to be in the mainstream media.
Yes, we're in trouble. And Ayotte just fell into line. That's why I call her Arizona's third senator.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think pretty much what McCain says, she does. We need somebody that's going to get on there, and say it like it is. Like, we need a Ted Cruz. I mean, whether you love him or hate him, he does say it the way it is.
Well, he's coming to New Hampshire. Scott Walker's coming to New Hampshire. Everybody's coming to New Hampshire.
Yes, and soon now.
Yeah, I guess there's like a dozen so far.
Yeah.
Yep, so far. But, one of the things that caught my eye this past week about Kelly Ayotte is she was one of the small handful of Republican senators that voted for the Portman-Shaheen bill. This is the energy bill.
I can't believe they passed that.
Yeah,
thing.
And here she is, the party of the free market, and yet she goes right along. And Rob Portman from is it Wisconsin?
Who cares?
Michigan, somewhere. Anyways, they're now going to impose huge efficiency standards on basically everything. Once again, they don't believe that we little people understand
the tax on everyone.
Yeah, that we should choose energy efficiency for ourselves, or we should work through the marketplace.
Portman is a broad-based tax on the whole nation.
Yeah, and Kelly Ayotte voted for it. There you go. She signed on with Gillibrand from New York. This whole campus sex assault kind of deal. And here she is, a former Attorney General of the state, basically taking away due process.
Guy's got like a minute.
Yeah. Bye.
No,
bye to me.
Yep. Go ahead, Guy.
We got a minute,
yep.
And I'll quickly say this. I saw the arrogance in her and many other senators when they got involved in the speaker's race in the New Hampshire House, that they cannot get anything in order in Washington, yet they have the arrogance to stick their nose into a House in New Hampshire that does get their financial things in order and stick their nose in on how the outcome came. And that shows you right there that we're in deep trouble. Because if you can't get your own house in order, you have no right sticking your nose into somebody else's.
Nope, that's true.
They do.
They do, and that's why New Hampshire first.
Screw D.C.
Screw D.C. Save New Hampshire. That's correct.
Liberty above all else, my friend.
That's right.
Liberty above all else.
Everybody you have a conversation with when you're talking about bills is, I'm like, well, what are the possible side effects of this legislation? We got to talk about that. So we'll talk to you next week, Guy. Thanks so much for coming on the program, and you enjoy your snowy Saturday.
You two guys have a safe drive home.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Take
See
care.
ya.
Bye.
Bye. All right, we're going to take a quick break in a couple seconds, and Skip's going to call Jorge Mesa Tejada for our education update. Mike is still lingering somewhere out there in the
I'm
phonosphere.
here. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, and you sound much better now. So.
Yeah.
All right.
I had a couple of comments, but I'll save them till the next segment.
All right.
Go get Jorge.
Well, there's always the squirrels. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning. The Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested, riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
This is a coalition of New Hampshire taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is a repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
Grok TV.